It is a great fortune for you to be able to meet a pope. But for me, the fortune is far greater that you, Bernini, are alive during my pontificate. Those are the words Maffeo Barberini spoke to Gianlorenzo Bernini after Maffeo became pope in 1623. Maffeo would be pope for 21 years, and those would become the years of plenty for Bernini. Yes, he was already loved by Pope Paul V, Camillo Borghese, and by his nephew Scipione Borghese, for whom he produced many masterpieces in his youth. Pope Gregory XV even made him a cavalier. But the commissions that came his way during Maffeo's pontificate were so enormous that they made him a very, very wealthy man indeed. Barberini acted quickly after becoming pope. St. Peter was nearing completion, but a baldacchino for the altar was missing. He ordered Bernini to produce one within days of taking office. It took Bernini and his assistants 11 years to finish this bronze structure. When completed, it measured 29 meters, 95 feet. The 4 helical columns are 20 meters, 66 feet, and set on marble plinths. The structure displays heraldic Barberini symbols, such as bees, laurel leaves, and radiant suns. Canopy culminates in 4 twice life-size angels. At the top is a sphere representing the world and a gilded cross for Christ's dominion. In 1629, Bernini's workload increased significantly when architect Carlo Moderno died. Maffeo told Bernini to take over his job and remodeled the Barberini Palazzo to his liking. And so he did. Together with some very famous assistants, he remodeled the Palazzo into a home worthy to a pope. And where possible, he used the 3 B's of the Barberini coat of arms just to show the world whose palazzo it was. In 1633, both the baldacchino and the palazzo were completed. But Bernini was still working like a madman. He was now the main architect for St. Peter, and between 1629 and 1639, he and 3 of his assistants produced 4 statues in the niches of the 4 pillars of the dome. Between 1633 and 1643, he produced a monument for the famous Matilda of Tuscany in St. Peter. And around 1638, work began on 2 bell towers. Moderna had already made a sketch. Bernini changed it a bit, and this was the result. A few years after completion, they were on the verge of collapsing and were demolished by order of the next pope. Besides all these monumental works, there were hundreds of other commissions for Cavalier Bernini. He produced a facade and a statue for the Church of Santa Bibiana. In between, Bernini made busts of many Barberini family members But Urban himself commissioned the most bust in the Bernini workshop. It was near the end of Urban's pontificate that Bernini was commissioned for the now famous Fountain of the Triton, and he was also responsible for the Fountain of the Bees, which again was a clever way to position the Barberinis as a family who enriched Rome in any way possible. Urban also had Bernini started work on his tomb in 1627. It was finished in 1647, 4 years after Maffeo's death in 1643. When the Barberini papacy ended, so did Bernini's good fortune for the time being. The next pope was Innocent X. He hated the Barberinis and, in effect, banned his entire family from Rome. It took Bernini quite some time to befriend this new and, according to many, complex and unforgiving individual.